bringing it back to Brandon Staley. So, okay, they bring in Nick Sorensen. They promote Nick Sorensen. They bring in Brandon Staley. Is the defense all good now? Not necessarily. Just because you brought in, just because you got rid of Steve Wilkes, promoted his underling, and brought in Brandon Staley to like be his babysitter, doesn't necessarily mean you're done with the defense. How are you gonna toughen up the run defense? Brandon Staley can't set an edge himself. So I really want to know, like, what's going to be different? Who are you going to add to this defense? I already mentioned starting DN you need. A good one. A starting defensive tackle for like half the season when Armstead's hurt. A starting linebacker. Or two. And a number 3 corner, which essentially is a starter as well. So really curious to see how the Niners fill all those holes. But let's talk about one player who's been here and needs to play better or needs to produce more. I'm not even blaming him. Javon Hargrave. Good player. Was great in Philly. The Niners paid him to be that difference maker, and he wasn't. Is it his fault? I don't know. But Brandon Staley has to figure this out. It seemed to me that Hargrave had his best seasons in a specific scheme in Philly in that 5-man front, which allowed him to get one-on-one matchups. Then you bring him over here, put him in a wide 9. He's getting double teamed all game. It was much less effective. Still good, but not what you're paying for. So he's not going anywhere anytime soon. You got to actually get the return on that investment. And maybe that's part of what Brandon Staley talked about when he interviewed for whatever job they gave him. Assistant head coach? I don't know. Maybe he said, look, you're using Javon Hargrave all wrong. I can unlock him. I mean, what we do know about Brandon Staley is he doesn't run the Niners system. And they're not going to implement. Well, I mean, will they? He ran a 5-man front with the Chargers and the Rams, just like Vic Fangio does and did with the Niners. Are they going to incorporate some of that? Because if they did, their run defense might improve. Javon Hargrave might improve. At what point is it fair to say this wide 9 isn't really helping? What is it doing? The wide 9, I mean, they're not good against the run, and their sack percentage was like 20-something. Supposed to supercharge your 4-man pass rush. It didn't. Hasn't. Maybe mix it up. I'm not saying scrap it, but maybe mix it up. Maybe that's why they brought in Brandon Staley, someone who has a completely different background. And maybe if they do mix it up, Javon Hargrave becomes a real factor again. Because in the Super Bowl, you saw what a dominant defensive tackle looked like. It was 95 on Kansas City. I don't even remember Hargrave's number. What is his number? 98? 98. He didn't really make a lot of plays this year. Is it his fault? Or did the Niners find a guy and put him in the wrong scheme? See if Staley can fix that and the run defense and make it seem like Nick Sorensen did it all by himself. That's your job.